super excited with the energy I see outside the window and out here on the floor. So thank you for everyone who's participating today. It's always a pleasure to conduct these meetings as well as to start them timely. The time is 1 o'clock, and if we can officially begin the meeting and do roll call.
Yes, ma'am. We have yourself, Trustee Dr. Mackey, Trustee Steen, Vice Chair Romero. We have a quorum.
Item number 2 will be the safety message, invocation, and pledge of allegiance. This will be done by Ms. Ana Lozano.
Thank you. Good afternoon. We first wanted to review the evacuation procedures so that we are prepared to be safe in the event of an emergency. If you hear the fire alarm, follow the instructions announced through the PA system. If asked to evacuate, please use the glass door exiting out of the boardroom to the outside. If that door is blocked, use the back door. Verbally alert others in the room and evacuate. Then move to the main parking lot in front of the building or the AT&T parking lot over the McCullough-Brooklyn bridges. In the event of a situation like this, our security team will be monitoring the situation and will notify the appropriate emergency services and team members. We also have employees nearby who are trained to administer first aid if needed. Safety is a top priority at CPS Energy, and while we hope this information is never needed, we want to be sure that we are always ready. Will you please stand with me for an invocation? We thank you for the many blessings you have freely given to each of us. We ask for your presence to guide this meeting of the CPS Energy Board of Trustees. Provide them with the knowledge, compassion, and wise counsel needed as they discuss the business matters on the agenda today. Help us all to remember that we are stewards acting on behalf of our customers and provide us with the grace to serve all people well. We ask this in your name, amen. Now please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item on the agenda is public comments.
Public comment provides an opportunity for members of the public to share thoughts on any of this meeting's posted agenda items. We will invite pre-registered speakers to speak. They may only address the board on CPS Energy-related business listed on the posted agenda. Speakers should state their first and last name, the organization or group they represent, and the agenda item that they are going to speak about. For this meeting, we have 6 in-person speakers. Each speaker will have 2 minutes to speak. Thomas, will you please cue the timer? Our first speaker is Henrietta LaGrange, followed by Jean Russell.
Good afternoon, and thank you. My name is Henrietta LaGrange, member of the Mulberry Street Girl Gang. It is a great honor allowing me to be here today. Today, my focus will be on the Woman of the Year for CPS Energy. Her name we all know is Vice President Maria Staten of Supply Chain for CPS Energy. It has been an honor knowing Maria Staten. One thing I can say about her, best description is saying she has excellent people skills. She understands how a person feels when you're telling her about your concerns. Very focused, understanding, very passionate about the community she services. When a concern is brought to her attention, she gets it done, does not pass the buck. I know she has had several positions with CPS Energy, and she has excelled in all of them. Let's just say, if you threw Maria up in the air, she'll always land in her feet. And what can I say? I have a lot of respect for her because I know I can. This paper doesn't really speak for me how I feel about her. She'll always land in her feet because of her passion and her dedication for CPS Energy. And all is an acquired talent and education through hard work. Our CEO, Rudy Garza, what is to say about him? Very dedicated to his work and very caring and understanding of the leadership he holds. Understand his work and focuses on safety of all his workers, all of them. And I can tell you, I stop at job sites and I asked, do you have enough water? Do you need anything? He says, CEO Rudy Garza supplies us with the best and has make sure that we are very well hydrated. Thank you for allowing me to be here. And where is Maria? So I can give her this balloon that she's number one.
Our next speaker is Jean Russell, followed by Ruben Mercado.
Good afternoon, CPS leaders and board members. Thank you for your time and your service to the community. My name is Jean Russell, and I'm the Executive Director of CAS Schools, and I'm going to be joined in a minute by Adele Leza, who is a CAS Tech senior and intern at CPS. CAS Schools grew out of a regional economic mobility strategy in partnership with area public school districts to create schools that will simultaneously prepare students for college and careers in a real-world setting and be co-created by industry. Our mission is to maximize opportunity for students while reinventing schooling. We have six public schools and 4 independent school districts. CPS is one of our founding partners, and for that we thank you. Lisa Lewis is also one of our founding board members, and not only is she a big believer in the CAS model, she helped us conceive of what we call the long interview. CAS was created because San Antonio community leaders understood that too many of our high-wage jobs were being filled by outside talent, and CPS saw the value in a homegrown talent strategy. I've passed out an op-ed Lisa wrote earlier this summer outlining the ROI, not just for young people, but for employers. So this month, as we celebrate interns, CPS has one of the most robust internship programs in our community. My understanding is that of last semester's crop of interns, 4 became full-time employees. While those were college students, the same magic can work with high school students. We thank you for believing in the young people of San Antonio and for recognizing the value of starting early. Today, CAS celebrates more than 700 alumni, and we see an opportunity to grow with you. I'd like to shout out Janie Gonzalez, who's done a job shadow for cybersecurity students at her company, Webhead. And I'd like to open the doors for anybody who might want to reach out to CAS Schools. I'm told that CPS employees who work with our students are wowed by their maturity and skills. So I asked Adele, and I'm running out of time, but no one says it like our students, to join me today about the transformational power of an internship. So maybe you can just let him say a word or two about why he came back to CPS Energy after his first year. So he's on his second round. So Adele?
Hello, everyone. My name is Adele Leza, an upcoming senior at CAS Tech High School. And I started an internship in IT desktop services here during the summer of 2022. Alongside an intern named Cohen Scotchney. Cohen's expertise was in IT while mine was in business. I knew the basics like starting a computer as well as restarting and double-clicking here and double-clicking there. But because of my amazing coworkers, Luis, Cohen, Kevin, Jeffrey, Chloe, Mr. Sines, Mrs. Kim, Mr. Thomas, basically everyone in Digital Lounge, I was able to learn and excel in basics of IT. Not only did I learn about IT here at CPS Energy, but I also learned how to troubleshoot and find solutions to problems. Most importantly, I got to meet awesome new people, improved my communication skills all within a healthy and supportive environment. It was an enriching experience, and I truly am grateful to CPS Energy, Digital Lounge, and Staging for giving me this amazing opportunity once again. I sincerely appreciate everything, and I'm eagerly looking forward to coming back next year. Thank you.
Thank you for your input. Our next speaker is Ruben Mercado, followed by Rita Schimpf.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me today. My name is Ruben Mercado, and I currently serve as the Associate Director in the UTSA Klesse College Student Success Center. Our office supports students in the engineering and integrated design disciplines in their ongoing professional and leadership development, which is what brings me here today. All students in our college are required to complete a signature experience, such as an internship, prior to their graduation date. Our research shows that students that take part in an internship are 70% more likely to receive a full-time job offer upon their graduation, and there's tremendous benefit to the organizations that they take part in these internships with as well. The career website Indeed shows some of the benefits of having interns as extending the workforce, developing and finding potential new leaders, and gaining a new perspective. So I'm here today just eager to continue our partnership with CPS Energy, particularly the Strategic Talent and Executive Acquisition team, in partnering our students with some of these tremendous opportunities and continuing to the success and growth of this organization, as well as our students' ongoing development. Many of our students are from and want to remain in the San Antonio area, so it'd be of tremendous benefit to the city as well. And I just thank you for your time, and I'm proud of the interns that we've had placed here and look forward to continuing working together. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Rita Schimpf, followed by Dee Dee Belmorris.
Good afternoon. You all should have a handout in front of you. My name is Rita Schimpf. I'm here asking you to protect the 150-year-old Summers Saloon, currently slated for demolition at your 10th and Alamo substation. My grandfather, shown in photo number 1, started driving a streetcar for CPS in 1929. 42 years later, he retired as general manager. The O.W. Summers power plant was named for him. He is the grandson of this saloon's founders. Photo 2. The city denied the 1870s saloon landmark designation without access to all my collection of primary sources, documents, and photos associated with this building. It's a rare caliche building and can be moved to a new home, resulting in a huge win for our CPS family and San Antonio. Founder Francis Summers' military story is noteworthy. He and Albertina started the saloon and beer garden in 1871. Photo 3 shows the 1883 addition of a homestead and bowling alley to the left of this saloon. It was a hub for community entertainment and civic meetings. Photo 4. To survive Prohibition, the saloon became an ice cream parlor and deli, where son Frank Jr. also officed as county commissioner. Photo 5 shows the deli and Summers drugstore extended to Alamo Street. Your CPS history book, Powering a City, notes that son Carter Summers owned the largest chain of drugstores in the Southwest. Photos 6 and 7, I believe the majority of the 123-year-old Alamo facade you see on the left is still under the current stucco. To the far left in photo 8, you can see the Alamo facade is still there in 1960, minus the parapet, just like our real Alamo. This one can be recreated too. The shuttered drugstore is to the right. In 1962, the Southwell Company located here, and the saloon took part in creating the very first Texas historical marker. To dismantle and store it would not protect it and showcase this rare and tangible glimpse into San Antonio's unique historic culture. Do not knowingly let this happen on your watch, please. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Dee Dee Belmorris, followed by Jack Finger.
Good afternoon. Dee Dee Belmorris, Clean Energy Advocate with Public Citizen. I'm speaking on agenda number 5, the RAC update. I hope that the update will include discussion on how to continue the work of an advisory committee as CPS Energy moves forward on an upcoming rate increase. There needs to be a committee, whether it's the RAC or some other body that advocates for ratepayers, not only in San Antonio, but for those that live outside the city. Those ratepayers especially need someone advocating for them. Since RAC meetings were open to the public, that included a comment portion, and were live streamed, the public was able to see and hear all the data and information that CPS Energy presented and the discussions among the RAC members that followed. That type of transparency and engagement cannot stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final speaker is Jack Finger.
Well, Mr. Chairman, other members of the board, for the record, my name is Jack M. Finger. A few items I wish to bring to your attention today. Number one, basically one of the basic items you need to look at is your citizens to sign up procedures you have here for these board meetings. You shut that thing off as early as Friday, last Friday, 3 days before today's meeting. You know, that's really the pits. You shouldn't have to sign it up, stop it so many days beforehand. At these San Antonio City Council meetings, your citizens are allowed to sign up to just 15 minutes before the meeting begins. And to give us just 2 minutes to speak? Once again, Mr. Mayor, as you know, the city gives us 3 minutes, a whopping 3 minutes. Oh. Yeah, I'd like to see some responses on that. It really doesn't have to be that way. Also, I wish to bring to your attention the upcoming proposed rate increases. Well, in the words of at least one person, I think it's, quote, it's time to, quote, look at business and other entities and increase their bill this year. I think that person just may have some wisdom there. Instead of having the bulk of it placed squarely on the shoulders of the actual citizens here in town. Or you could, here's an idea, Mr. Mayor, you could stop that 22% CPS amount that goes to the San Antonio city coffers and just give it back to the ratepayers. You know, I think a good 6 or 7 or 8% decrease in their bill would be very helpful, right? or with the six-figure salaries you give to certain people around here, does that have to be as well? Thank you.
Thank you. That was our last registered speaker. I will now turn the meeting back to Chair Gonzalez.
Thank you very much. For the chairman's remarks, I'm going to keep them short. I want to first just thank the employees and the citizens who continue to participate through the various avenues that we have committed to doing so. So this past week, we held two open houses, and so the public had an opportunity to stop by and learn about our program. So I want to thank those who participated, as well as thank the employees that were there. You know, sometimes what we do, you know, we hear from from citizens, and for the most part, we really get some really great feedback. But there's so much that you can learn when you participate in these sessions, and so I always like to just walk around and ask citizens, so what did you learn? They don't know who I am, so I was like, what did you learn? And it's amazing how much they learn. But I think what's even more powerful about what CPS represents to the city of San Antonio is a particular story when I asked someone, okay, what did you learn? I'm glad you're an ambassador for us. Please let other people know to participate. And she goes, you know, I frequent these opportunities, and also because my son worked for CPS and he has passed on. And this is one way for me to still stay close to my son. And so it's again the value of what CPS is to San Antonio. Not only do we keep the lights on, our goal is resiliency, security, affordability. We're so much more than that. We are really an economic driver. We're a fabric of this community. And so I want to again thank those employees who represent us, who are there, in the evenings, who have been committed to also opening meetings on a quarterly basis. We're doing everything that we can, not only to increase transparency, but to communicate all the programs that CPS offers so that we can make a difference in someone's life and in the employees that we hire and retain and we fight for. So on that note, I just want to again thank everybody and the public who participates and the employees of CPS. And just remind again our citizens and business owners and those of you who are out there listening today that we have a good amount of helpful links on our website. That includes again for Wi-Fi thermostat rewards, Nest Rush Hour rewards, the STEP rebate and ways to save, energy saving tips, payment options and customer assistance, and our energy conservation level program. And again, not everybody may have access to the internet. If you have a grandparent you represent, anybody who may not have access, please help them out. And again, we have a lot of programs that are there for you, especially with what we're experiencing with the heat. It's important that we take care of our neighbors and that we find ways to help them if they need payment plans. The other thing I want to just briefly cover is the Texas Public Association was here this past week, so I got to meet with experts throughout this state of Texas, and so CPS was participated in that. It was really nice to meet leaders across the state of Texas. I also had the opportunity to meet and participate with the Texas Workforce Commissioner, with the interns. So it was a really nice opportunity to provide feedback. As you know, I'm an employer. I'm a big advocate of being involved in the community and inspiring the next generation of employees that we need. And then I lastly want to end by wishing Dr. Romero a belated birthday. Her birthday took place in July. And so happy belated birthday, Dr. Romero. And again, just thank you, everyone. It's August, midway through the year, at least for us, based on the calendar. I know that sometimes fatigue can kick in, but if anything this week and participating at various events as a chairman of CPS, it's just a reminder that there is a lot that we need to do. There's a lot that we need to sustain. And I want to thank again my colleagues who each play a pivotal role in how we get our job done well. So on that note, thank you very much. And then we're going to go ahead and discuss item number 5, which is a rate advisory committee update. Dr. Romero?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you all know, the Rate Advisory Committee has been meeting this year on rate structure, including affordability and how to lower the energy burden for lower income residential customers. Under the leadership of Chair Reed Williams and Vice Chair Dr. Cantu, affordability was divided into 3 components: bill relief, conservation, and demand response. For this task, the RAC agreed to deliver their final input in the form of a survey. The RAC chair and members created an 18-question survey for this purpose. The RAC completed the survey in mid-June, and the results were discussed by the RAC members at their June 29th meeting. The results and the comments that some members shared have been shared with the board and are also available on the RAC website. RAC Chair Reed Williams will attend our board meeting on August 28th, where he will summarize the work completed by the RAC since February and answer any questions about the survey results. And I expect that as we prepare for additional rate support requests in the future, that RAC input will be considered and where we deem it appropriate, incorporated into such requests. I want to thank Ms. Belmaris for being here today and for her comments. That what you requested was not a part of my update today, but it is certainly something that we are keeping in mind for the future to consider how we will fulfill the important RAC function going forward. So thank you, and thank you for all your contributions to the process.
Does the board, do the trustees have any comments or questions for Mayor? In conclusion, again, I want to just thank everybody who participated. And yes, Dee Dee, shout out to you. You were one of my representatives. I know that one of the first things I did when I committed to working with the group that you represented was whenever there was an opportunity to assign you to something, we did. And again, your voice matters and your input matters, and everybody who participated. Shout out to also Reed and our former co-chair of that organization. So thank you, job well done. The next item on the agenda is to convene to executive session. In executive session, we're going to go over the following items. A, consultation concerning competitive matters, section 551.006, and attorney-client matters, Section 551.071, B, Personnel Matters, Section 551.074, and then C, Consultation Concerning Security Personnel and Devices, Section 551.076. And if you can please take us into executive session. Ms. Ramirez.
Yes, ma'am. At this time, the board is going to recess into executive session to discuss the matters that you have just outlined under several provisions of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. At the conclusion of executive session, the board will reconvene in open session and continue the meeting. It is 1:25 as we go into executive session.
I'm gonna If you could please bring the board back from executive session.
Yes, ma'am, it is 2:23 PM. The board has concluded executive session. I can confirm that there were no votes taken and no matters were discussed that were not part of the posted agenda. We have a quorum and all members are present.
Okay, we're going to move to consent agenda items. The following are looking for the approval of the following consent items. A, minutes of the regular board meeting held on 05/22/2023. B, minutes of the special board meeting held on 06/12/2023. C, minutes of the regular meeting held on 06/26/2023. D, payment to the city of San Antonio for June 2023. E, procurement items, there is none.
Move that we approve the consent agenda, item number 7, A, B, C, D, and E.
There is a motion on the floor by Dr. Mackey and a second by Dr. Romero. All in favor? Aye. Items have been approved. The next item on the agenda is the regular agenda, and we're going to go over the committee reports. A, Operations Oversight Committee, meeting held on 6/29/2023, and then B, Technology and Resilience Committee, meeting held on 07/05/2023. Does the board have any questions or comments? If not, thank you. Is there, is there approval to appoint the committee reports as is? Okay, yes. So we're going to go ahead and move on. They've all been accepted by the board. And move to agenda item number 9, which is the annual STEP update. Year 1, Mr. Jonathan Tijeria and Ms. Ana Lozando. Please proceed.
Good afternoon, and appreciate the opportunity to be up with you this afternoon to talk about our year recap of performance for the STEP program. Give it a couple of seconds for the deck to come up. Perfect. For our first-time listeners or for folks hearing this for the first time, our Sustainable Tomorrow Energy Plan, or known as STEP, is our energy efficiency and conservation program that looks to aim and reduce energy demand by 410 megawatts over 5 years. STEP, as a reminder, has a benefit for all customers. Regardless of participation, the system cost and the system savings are all benefits back to our customers in the way of reducing demand and having to produce that power during our high usage during the summer. Want to do a little bit of a recap. So today, you're going to be hearing about progress over the 1 year since our approval a year ago, getting up to this new 5-year program. Want to remind folks there's 5 big buckets or goals that we are actively tracking ourselves towards around demand management, bill savings, a more focus around equity, innovation, and emission reduction. And specifically, the metrics that you see there below are things that we are tracking over the 5-year period. A couple of things that I want to highlight before I invite Ana Lozano to come up is, this past year has really been a year of transition for us. As you recall, with your authorization, we moved forward with a reimagined weatherization program, which we approved last month, where we have now 7 new local vendors participating in our weatherization program. We've had success with continuing legacy programs around air conditioner rebates, light bulbs, and et cetera. And really what we're looking for now moving into the future is more focus around both the demand management and the equity perspective, as well as always trying to incorporate innovation into our products and services. So you're going to hear a little bit about our future program around our community solar initiative. You're going to hear around successes that we've had this first year in tracking and performance. And at the same time, hear about the ongoing effort that we have with external stakeholders. You heard from her a little earlier today, but Didi is just one of the many stakeholders that we are continually meet with on a monthly basis at this point to talk about ways to make sure that our program is getting to the segments of our community that needs the most help, while at the same time, in a good way, challenging us to think differently around just the status quo and thinking about how we incorporate new ideas and concepts into our programs. And as a reminder, this is an annual check-in that we'll do. And so again, over the next 5 years, our total budget estimate is around $350 million. And at year 3, we'll come back on a more formal update. I'm going to invite Ana Lozano to come up next to walk you through the rest of the presentation. I wanted to take an opportunity to introduce her. I know many of you all have met her through rather committee meetings or one-off conversations, but this is actually going to be her first time presenting to the full board. Ana has been with us for 5 years in the organization, and since January of 23 has been our Director of Products and Innovation. Ana has about 20 years of utility experience, so she brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to the programs and to the team. And really excited about the opportunities that she has and look forward to her continued growth and delivering of these products to our customers and community. And so I'll pass it to Ana here, and then we'll both be available for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board. I think I need to stop counting. Over 20 years, we need to stop counting. I am happy to be here. This next slide, following up on Jonathan's introduction, this slide shows our current portfolio of STEP programs. You know, Jonathan mentioned early on that all customers benefit from STEP, whether or not they participate, but our goal is to develop programs for all of our customers, whether they're a small business or a large industrial customer, they rent or own a home or are on limited income. Our goal is to develop offerings for all of them. So this is our current portfolio of STEP programs. And the top left, highlighted in that green box, are programs that are new for year 1. They have been added to our portfolio, and they have an equity focus. Our theme for STEP, and what we will be talking about throughout the 5 years, is reducing barriers for customers. So these programs specifically are either low cost or no cost to customers. And we'll talk more about them as we go through the presentation. Also, before I move on the right side, peppered on there are all of our partners. These are partners that help us bring these programs to our customers and communities. And some of them are local partners, local contractors here in San Antonio, and some of them are industry leaders. And as Jonathan mentioned last month, the board approved awarding 7 new contracts to local, small, minority-owned businesses, and they have joined our family on this slide of partners. This slide provides a dashboard overview of our performance. Also, as Jonathan mentioned, last year we received approval of this STEP program, and it went into effect August 1st. So today actually marks the last day of the first year of this program. So the numbers on here are as of June 30th until we close out this month. So also, one of our goals is core to STEP is our demand reduction, and our goal is to reduce 410 megawatts of demand energy. In year 1 to date, we have reduced 151 megawatts of demand. And I'd like to give some context because that's a big number. Last year when we came to the board, we talked about sunsetting our solar rebate program, and we did so right after STEP was approved in September. We provided notice to our local solar industry and all of our customers and community. We provided a 90-day notice. Typically, solar is seasonal, and so during the summer months when consumption is high, it's top of mind for customers. We see that demand increase, and it tapers off in the fall and even more so in the holidays. But last summer, because of this announcement, we saw an increase of 40% of projects submitted, and so those solar projects contributed to these megawatts. We will not see this in years 2 through 5. It was again tapering off that solar rebate program. We're on pace for energy savings and then equity, again, core to this STEP program. One of our metrics is weatherizing 16,000 homes for customers. That comes out to about 3,200 homes per year. So to date, we've weatherized about 1,700 homes as of June. Again, with the expansion of our vendors and the local contractors, years 2 through 5, we will weatherize 3,500 homes. And in talking with everyone, and Jesse and our community engagement team, we will be on track for that. So we're not concerned with the 1,700 homes in year 1. And then again, as Jonathan mentioned, average $70 million for our budget. To date, we've spent about 73.4. And again, a lot of that is to cover those solar rebates that came in at the end of last year. So all in all, really strong performance. The takeaway for me on this slide is that customers are participating in our programs and they're working as expected. We're seeing the savings that we develop them to bring. So our Reimagine Weatherization program, this is one of the programs we are most proud of. Like children, we love them all equally, but I'm very proud of this one. Last year, this slide may look familiar because these were our commitments to the board and to our community last year. We said we wanted to reimagine this program. It had been a long-standing program, very successful, but we knew there were greater opportunities. And so we committed to expanding business opportunities. We did that, again, thanks to the support of our board. We now can say that our weatherization program, our Casa Verde program, is supported by all from seven local small minority-owned businesses. 3 of those 7 are women-owned businesses. And so they support our entire program and will be weatherizing homes in San Antonio. We also said last year that we were going to reach more customers. And we developed an initiative called a community ambassador. And the idea behind a community ambassador, and we've talked about it most recently at City Council and with stakeholders, is this collaboration. We know that there are other entities in the community who have resources, have funding, and they can help bridge the gaps for our customers. So this community ambassador and the initiative is to help build the bridges between all of the resources so that if a customer needs let's say, a new roof. Well, we now know that Neighborhood Housing Services Department has funding for new roofs. So we will build that bridge, send the customer to NHSD, and then also get that customer back into the program. So again, reaching more customers in the community. We also committed to reducing barriers to participation, and we have created this minor home repair fund. A lot of our customers who came through this program needed just minor home repairs in order to be weatherized, like a few shingles or anything minor on the floorboards, and we couldn't do that. But now we've created this minor home repair fund to help fund some of these repairs, and then we can weatherize their home. So again, reducing barriers to participation, and then energy equity. This has always been an income qualifying program. We have added an additional qualification around energy burden. So for customers or family who have an energy burden greater than 10%, they now qualify regardless of income. This slide expands on some of our newer equity-focused programs in year 1. And again, reducing barriers, low cost, no cost. These programs are available to all of our customers, but specifically, we are targeting our limited income customers in underserved areas. And so, for instance, our home energy assessment, this program has been around and available. Many of us have participated, but the way that we're promoting the program is to our LMI customers. And so we've done about 1,000 of them here this year. And again, this is a free home energy assessment. We have an energy specialist go out to a customer's home and look for energy saving opportunities, provide information on our programs to help them save even more, and then actually install some energy saving measures. HVAC tune-ups are new this year. I think we've read a lot about them recently in the media. It's a great program. It's also free to customers. There is no income qualification. All customers can participate in this program. It's a no-cost service. Before you need a new HVAC system, we should get them tuned up, and so this is a free service. This is different in that we actually partner with trade allies to perform this work. So local contractors can sign up to participate and offer this. So it isn't our team, but we do partner with contractors. And to date, we have 15 local HVAC companies participating in this program and always looking for more. And then our retail discount program. This, again, we had this program in the past. And we could have seen them at Costco or Lowe's. We've adjusted our focus here, again, to be a little more equity focused, and we've brought them to retailers in geographically targeted areas, but we've brought them to Dollar Tree and Goodwill and Salvation Army. And this program year, we have rebated over 600,000 LED bulbs, and the average customer buys about 5 LEDs. And so this has been really successful. It's a program that we think we want to expand and maybe be able to discount other energy efficiency measures beyond light bulbs. Again, supporting our goal of addressing equity, we have committed to expanding our weatherization program beyond single-family homes. We know that there are lots of customers in multifamily dwellings or apartments who could benefit from weatherization services. And so this is a new program that we will be launching in the second program year. Again, the same focus is to help weatherize our limited income customers. And so we're starting with multifamily properties that are owned and operated by a 501c3 or that have at least 25% of their tenants receiving some type of low-income assistance. And the idea is that we will weatherize the entire complex unit by unit, bringing weatherization services to customers now who had not previously been able to benefit from this program. So the program structure is being finalized. We're actually working on a pilot with Opportunity Home SA, and so they will be identifying some complexes that we can start with, and then it'll be a learning opportunity for us before we roll it out. And that picture on the right there is actually of a stakeholder feedback session that we held here. We invited property owners and property management companies from throughout the community to come talk with us about what could work, what they were interested in. And as an example, again, feedback and community engagement is so valuable, we thought maybe we could have our weatherization vendors go and weatherize all of these apartments. We actually learned that a lot of the property owners actually have their own contractors and their own contracts in place and want to use their contractors. So it's an adjustment for us. So always valuable feedback anytime we engage with stakeholders. Lastly, community solar. We did sunset our solar rebate program. And again, with the theme of this step is to reduce barriers. We know that community solar does just that. We've had 2 programs that have been very successful and are fully subscribed, and we want more. We know that customers want more solar, and community solar, we believe, is one way to bring more solar to customers who might not have the roof to support it or live in a multifamily unit. And it's also great for some of our limited income customers because customers can buy as little as 1 panel versus a whole system. So we've been talking about an RFP. This is next in line. We will be releasing an RFP. And these are our goals for community solar. We want to expand on what we've already done. And so again, we're asking respondents to respond with an equitable offering, something that supports our LMI customers, whether it's a different cost structure or partners to help support LMI customers. We're looking for something to offer our LMI customers to reduce that barrier to solar. Increased visibility. We think that it's great to be able to see solar in our community, not just a farm at the edge of town. And so we're asking respondents to think about and identify areas in our community where we can install community solar. And we'd really like to see it. We'd like our respondents to be creative, whether it's over schools or parks or basketball courts. We'd like them to be creative, and we'd like all of our customers and community and children to be able to see solar in our community. We've talked about local partnerships. This was a success in weatherization where we had different companies who were able to support weatherization in part, but together they formed partnerships and responded to our RFP and won business and are able to support us. So we'd like to see this. Heat island mitigation, resiliency opportunities, and again, 50 megawatts is what we're looking to request and ask for. That's a lot of solar. And so like with weatherization, we're looking to be able to award multiple vendors to support this. So there's plenty of opportunity for our local solar industry to participate in this. And like our previous programs, our next step is to host a vendor fair and invite our local solar industry, everybody who's registered, who has expressed interest in community solar, to come learn about the RFP, learn about what we are looking for, but then also meet with our procurement team to register as a vendor so that they're able to get the RFP and submit responses. So we'll be doing that here in the next couple of weeks, and this RFP, it does say July 2023. It will be released in August. And so to close it out, programs that were launched in 2023, they had an equity focus available to all customers, home energy assessments, HVAC tune-ups, our retail program, and then of course our Reimagine Weatherization program. And then on the horizon, right up next is community solar with multifamily, looking to expand our EV program and energy storage. And as we've said, and we will continue to say, we are committed to reducing barriers to participation, and we'll always continue to look at all program development with an equity lens. I think that is it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lozano, as well as Jonathan Tejeria for the annual STEP update. Does the board have any questions or comments? Mayor?
Just one question. Thank you very much for the update. Comprehensive. I'm glad to see everything's on track. With regard to the weatherization pipeline of customers, are we getting folks who are connecting to the city's minor home repair programs over to our weatherization and vice versa?
We have recently been collaborating with NHSD, and we have that bridge.
Okay, what about with ACOG?
Oh, Jesse is here.
Hi, good afternoon, trustees. Pleasure to be here. Jesse Hernandez. Mayor, yes, we do collaborate with ACOG. As you may be familiar, they do have their own weatherization program. They do offer some differences from our program to theirs, so whenever it makes sense, we do collaborate with ACOG to transfer customers over if it's going to be a better bang for their buck, so that they can do it, and then they do the same with us as well.
Okay, great. So my only remaining question then is, we're running into this with the city in terms of eligibility, particularly in those areas, lower income communities where the home repairs are much needed. A lot of homeowners are coming into ineligibility because they don't have a clear title. So we've pushed to provide title clearance assistance for them. Are we having a similar issue here? Do you require clear title for weatherization eligibility?
I'm familiar with what you're referring to, and no, we do not require that. So even renters qualify for our program as well. Okay. And also with the small home repair program that Anna mentioned, we're going to be able to help close that gap for those customers that might need a little bit, whether it's $1,000 or $2,000 in additional small home repairs.
Okay, that's helpful. I would just say, because we are looking at this through an equity lens, which I think is very important. Obviously, with the communities that we're trying to impact most, there's going to be more barriers to eligibility. So wherever those barriers present themselves, if you could keep us informed if it requires a policy solution, either at the city or here, we're happy to do that and figure out what the best solution is. But I would just make sure that in order for us to reach our equity measures, we're going to have to be sensitive to the fact that a lot of people aren't going to be able to get in the door because they don't meet some sort of administrative requirement. And so let's look for where those are and try to address them.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I believe the next trustee to have a question is Dr. Romero, or comment.
Okay, thank you. I have a few comments. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of the program, and I wish it were even bigger. And I'm a fan of your work, so thank you. But just a few questions. Talking about expanded goals for community solar, one of them is heat island mitigation. I'm not making the connection between community solar and heat island mitigation. As I think of heat island mitigation, it's things like cool pavement, cool roofs, trees. So I'm not quite sure how it fits in there.
I guess I think about our previous community solar program were solar carports, and that we went out to go tour. And so that contributes to reducing that heat, that urban heat island effect. And so I think we're thinking about any kind of coverage, not just out in a field, right, but something in our urban areas that would contribute to that.
Okay. I think it's a little bit of a stretch to say that. I think it might confuse people a little bit. My other question is, and I appreciate what you're saying about when a new community solar opportunity opens up, to try and target LMI customers to be involved in it. But I guess I don't understand how it works. If they're always, like, it just seems like they're instantly fully subscribed, and that there's a lot of people who aren't LMI who are getting a lot of the panels. So what's your plan for making sure LMIs are maybe first in line, that they're not shut out by others?
And I'm sorry, Rudy, were you going
Well,
to answer
yeah,
that?
I'd
Sorry,
like
I didn't mean
to
to interrupt,
tackle
Bonnie.
that because this is feedback we got specifically from a couple of council members. With our solar rebates in general, we continue to rebate parts of the market that we believe are kind of underrepresented, entities like not-for-profits, small businesses. We don't have a lot of programs for small business. So rebates for solar for small business, there's an event tomorrow. One of our local restaurants put solar panels up to help reduce their costs. That's the type of focus we're trying to provide. So at least my expectation as they bring forward results of a RFP process is that there will be carve-outs for LMI customers that with the likelihood that we pair capacity
kind of dedication with some type of financial, product that helps make solar more affordable for low-income, low, moderate-income customers. That's the type of solution we're looking for. So, kind of the results are kind of yet to be determined with the RFP going out in August, but that's what we're going to be looking for in terms of proposals.
Okay, thanks. I just, and I think you're saying this too, but I just feel like there needs to be some logistics, right? Like timing, to make sure that it's not within 2 days, that it's all subscribed by the people who know how to use the system really well and are right on top of it, like maybe hold some back so you can help people to find the path for that.
So I guess deploy participation by stages.
Yes, and I think to Rudy's point, carving out maybe a percentage of the program specifically to LMI to make sure that that's reserved for them.
I think what we want is, again, this is a high-demand program, so we know. So we just want to make sure, again, that different levels get to participate.
Absolutely.
Of course, take
Okay. Home energy assessments, I think they're great, and I know you're marketing them more to LMI. I sort of feel bad, but I sort of don't, because I had one, and I know people who aren't LMI who have one, and they help everybody. But I just wonder if it's something we could consider in the future, charging a small fee for customers who are not LMI. I mean, I think it's easily worth $50 to have somebody come to your house and do that review of your home. So that's just something I think we should think about before we start just always calling this an equity-based program. And then if somebody wants to be involved in one of these programs and they have a delinquency on their account, I assume the answer is you need to be in a payment program, and then you could qualify for these again. Is that correct?
Actually, no, if they have an active CPS Energy account, they qualify for the program. I don't know that we've ever asked them to pay off their balance before they participate.
I would, and maybe Deanna needs to come up, I would expect that a conversation about weatherization, would, if they're so delinquent, would also include a conversation about getting them on a payment plan as well. So I think it presents an opportunity to really accomplish both.
I agree. I think that's an excellent suggestion by Dr. Romero.
Yes.
And again, it's not meant to penalize, it's just meant to highly encourage, like, here's what we have, and then we can do this. I think that's an excellent suggestion.
That's absolutely right, and Jesse Hernandez was up here. It's really his team that connects with the customers to say, what can we do to help get your bill down and make it manageable on the front end and on the back end? What's the right payment program that we can connect you with? But before we even go there, we also look at what other assistance is out there to help alleviate some of the other burdens that those customers are doing. And we plan on coming here to talk about what that bundled care approach is that we're taking, and happy to see how else the board would recommend that we improve on that process. But that's exactly what the community engagement team does.
And we could further discuss it, but I think that's like an easy thing to implement if the fellow colleagues agree with that. I mean, I don't think that's a bad approach at all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get some clarification on the HVAC tune-ups. And so you said those are not income tested. Anybody can get the HVAC tune-up.
That's correct.
For free.
And
CPS Energy is paying these contractors to go do the tune-ups.
Yes. They have agreed to participate in the program. The value is up to $200. And again, because the savings, and they'll inspect the HVAC system, but the savings that we get from it outweighs what we pay it's like an instant rebate to customers, except we pay the contractors, and the customers don't have to pay anything up front. But it is free to all customers.
So the tune-up could involve some sort of work up to $200?
No, the base service is $200, so it's checking the filters, it's everything that's included, maybe adding some additional coolant. If the technician sees that something else is needing maintenance, then yeah, if it's outside of scope, then that would be something between the customer and the contractor to work out, and then the customer would pay for those services or not. but we have a list of a checklist of what the contractor does that is entailed in that HVAC tune-up, and that's what's covered.
Okay, and I guess I just have two comments on that. That again just seems sort of odd to me that someone who's not an LMI customer can take advantage of that. I'm not really sure that's something we should be investing in.
I think the context of the entirety of this program of STEP is to achieve savings either on the energy efficiency or demand response side, any way we can get them within the programs that we've established. And this is a verifiable way that we achieve some of those savings. Every program has its own level of success kind of within the portfolio, but they all work together to achieve the total. So, and I think what we're talking about here are ways we can evolve the program as we kind of, think about it going forward. If STEP ever went away, I think there are other programs we could probably come up with, to charge a fee and still get the benefit of some energy efficiency. But overall, all these programs kind of work together to achieve that, 400 megawatts or so that we're trying to get.
I agree with that in general, and normally I don't like it when we get into these conversations of, oh, is STEP helping people who could have afforded it for themselves? But this one seems like a little bit of an outlier, that I'm not sure we should be paying for HVAC tune-ups for people who can't afford it for themselves. I don't think that's something most people would let go, like some of the other things, or forego.
Yeah, okay.
And then just my last thing on this, just the thing I'm concerned about is that there's protection for the LMI customers, because I don't think that's, I don't want to say anything disparaging, but it's not that often that an HVAC technician comes and does a tune-up and says, everything's absolutely fine, there's nothing else you could possibly need. And so I just worry about people who are told then, well, you need this or that, and that concerns me a little bit. By the same token, I also want to throw this idea out. The hard start for HVAC systems, I think would be something we should think about providing rebates for LMI customers. It's really important to keep older systems going when it's really hot out. If y'all know what a hard start is, it makes it easier for your air conditioning system when it has to be starting and stopping all the time in the real hot weather. So I just think that would be a really efficient step to look at to add into this program. That's it. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
So here are my closing remarks. First of all, thank you for the feedback, and especially from the colleagues. I think where I differ is that I do like the idea that you don't always have to qualify for something. I think it's important we serve all customers, but we're not here to debate that. I think what I need to understand is what committee does this go through, so maybe we can have further discussions to discuss how we maybe could measure things of success, some lessons learned, and then see how we can enhance it through the life cycle of the STEP program. Because remember, we did say we'd come back to the board. And so I think, again, everybody's feedback is meaningful, and then I just want to make sure through the appropriate committee that we just have these discussions and find ways to enhance or learn and improve. So again, thank you for all the comments. Any other comments by our colleagues? All righty. Well, on that note, we're going to go ahead and move on to item number 10, which is the discussion of Evolve, which is the ERP update, and that will be provided by Mr. Evan Mahoney.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair Gonzalez and trustees. Today I'll be providing an update on our Enterprise Resource Planning, or ERP program. I'll start by talking a little bit about our strategy to de-risk this technology initiative, and then elaborate on the current state of our technology ecosystem, and then some of the benefits that we hope to achieve as we move to our future state. And then we'll dive a little bit deeper into our overall transition strategy and the supporting roadmap. We don't have to look too far to see what impacts an organization can face due to legacy technologies. Earlier this year, both Southwest Airlines and the FAA, their operations were suddenly halted as a result of not actively investing in their data technology systems. And for us, our digital transformation, Evolve, is our strategy to proactively address these risks. So when we think about the impact relative to risk exposure, there are really two different lenses that we use here as it relates to our digital transformation. The first is our technology itself is extremely old. It was originally selected in 1998. The first go live was in 2001. So we effectively are using a technology solution that is almost 23 years old. So inherently, we have risk that we're operating with as a result of that. But we also have a significant amount of opportunities across our organization to introduce efficiencies relative to our various operational processes by introducing new modern technology and new ways of working. Both of these lenses were clearly articulated in the operational efficiency review, and those observations and recommendations are very much incorporated in our strategy for this program. So as we look at the Evolve portfolio as a whole, again, that is our overarching digital transformation, it's important to note that this is not just about technology. This is a business transformation. It is about how technology can enable new ways of working for our organization. It is also aimed to understand what the expectations are of our customers and ensure that we are able to provide them with the experiences that make it easier for them to do business with us. And also interwoven through all of that is really our data. We want to ensure that we have real-time access to information that allows us to make more informed decisions through those insights. So I want to talk in a bit more detail here, specifically around ERP. So ERP, or again, Enterprise Resource Planning, really underpins all aspects of our operations. And you can see some by the numbers here on this slide. But the types of things that ERP technologies do for our business are everything from processes like hire to retire, so managing all aspects of our workforce, or meter to cash, how we collect our meter data and then translate that to our customer bills and then collect on those. All aspects of work and asset management, so how we maintain our over $3 billion in assets. All of these different business functions today are enabled or supported through our ERP technology solutions. So what does this actually look like for us? I have a visual depiction here, and this is really just a simplified view of our application ecosystem as it exists today. And I want to spend just a couple of minutes walking you all through this. Starting with the middle circle, our core ERP today is SAP, as I mentioned. We first went live with that in 2001, and it will be end of standard support from our vendor at the end of calendar year 2027. Now, the middle ring around that represents a number of other business systems that have been added over time to supplement functionality that could or should otherwise natively reside within our ERP platform. Saying that another way, we have a number of different technologies to support how we manage assets across our organization. While that asset data is in our core ERP, the systems that our operational teams use may vary based on different technologies that are deployed. And then the outer ring is a visual representation of our operational systems. Those are things like our SCADA platforms, which is how we are able to monitor and manage the grid, or our metering or AMI infrastructure. Now, what's important to note if you take a look at this visual are the red arrows that you see. That's just a visual indication of all of the integrations that exist across all of these different applications, or data that is flowing back and forth, so individuals that are performing their work have an accurate view into all of the information they may need to do their job. So as you think about the landscape that I just spoke to, it is quite complex. We have over 400 different integrations or applications across this ecosystem, and as a result, we have data that is spread across all of those systems. Because of how long ago many of these technologies were implemented, many of them are not configured to support modern business processes that will provide us with the efficiencies that we need. And of course, as I mentioned, the core of this entire ecosystem will no longer be supported by our vendor at the end of 2027. So as we look ahead, we know we need to replace these technology platforms, but as I mentioned, we want to ensure that we're not just focused on the technology itself, that we are focused on the benefits or the outcomes that we are hoping to achieve as an organization. Things like ensuring that our future technologies allow us to provide different products and services to our customers. As an example, we received very recently quite a bit of feedback from our rate advisory committee around different types of rate structures that our community and customers may be interested in the future. That's an example of the types of outcomes that we incorporate in this strategy to make sure that the technology decisions that we are making today are setting us up to be able to meet the needs of our customers in the future. Business processes are key here. We very much encourage our organization, as we're already talking about this journey, to think about the art of the possible in terms of how we work. How can we be more efficient through the use of these different technology platforms? And the last thing I'll mention here is we also recognize that we must change the way that we maintain our technology in the future. So very similar to how you regularly get software updates on your phones, or have access to new functionality and capabilities when you may be working on your PCs. We very much will be integrating that approach to our new technology systems to make sure that we as an organization aren't in this same place in 20 years from now, that we are constantly maintaining these new technology investments and ensuring that we are updating them to keep up with the needs of our organization. I want to invite two of our team members, Kirby and Danny, to give you their perspective on our ERP transformation because, as I mentioned, it isn't just the responsibility of our technology team, but it is critical to our frontline operations as well.
I'm Kirby Fogel, and I'm excited to tell you about our enterprise resource planning transformation and how it will improve the systems we use to run our business, streamline the way we work, and empower CPS Energy employees to unlock their full potential.
And I'm Danny Cruz. I'm here to make sure we're all on the same page and everything is clear. What Kirby is saying is super important, so let's all listen up.
So first, a little background. What are ERP or enterprise resource planning systems? These systems allow us to conduct critical job functions from administrative to accounting to human resources and beyond. These job functions are built around a central group of business applications.
This means this program lets us do everything we do each day. So it's important to everyone, whether or not you're familiar with ERP.
Today, we have over 50 applications that were added over the years to keep up with emerging technology. The challenge we face is that many of these applications are not made to work together, which causes frustration for those trying to complete common tasks.
Like the tablets we use. Sometimes we can't pull up an address because it's not in the system. It'd be great to get these types of issues fixed so we can take better care of our customers.
Exactly, Danny. Several of our applications are becoming obsolete, so it's critical that we find new solutions that will allow us to minimize the number of applications we use, streamline our business processes, and empower employees to focus on serving our customers.
These solutions will help us be more accurate and transparent with our customers, so we can tell them what's happening and when their power will be restored.
That's what we want. We'll partner with trusted vendors to help us identify the right ERP solution. We already work with one partner to identify and assess the pain points that exist today and some of the needs of our business in the future. We'll also go through a process to select the right partners to help us implement and operationalize our solutions.
I've seen a lot of changes in my 28 years of CPS Energy, and I'm excited we're working with experts to make smart choices that'll take us into the future with confidence.
Many CPS Energy employees have already been included in this process, and will continue to engage experts from every area of the business along this journey.
Maximum effort. We're all in this together as one team.
It's an exciting time at CPS Energy, during which we'll improve the employee experience and empower us all to serve our customers in new and exciting ways.
So as you can see, not only is our IT organization pretty excited about this transformation, but the individuals that consume this technology each and every day that are on the front lines interacting with our customers are equally as excited. So I want to talk a little bit about where we are in our ERP journey. So we really started laying the foundation for this transformation a few years ago in our fiscal year 2021. We started by developing some high-level plans And then we brought in some partners to help us assess our current state, as well as develop the requirements for our future state. That informed the development of our business case and the release of our technology RFP, which occurred in January of this year. We are now in the final phases of the technology evaluation process. We're in the midst of the demonstration phase, and we will be bringing back to you all before the end of this year our recommendation for the technology platforms that we select. We will then be focused on finding our implementation partners, and then we'll transition into the run phase, where we will be rolling up our sleeves and focused on implementing the future technology solutions. The view that you see here, this roadmap view, really just layers what I just mentioned in a timeline. The items in blue are really around building that vendor ecosystem, technology partner, implementation partners, and then an IV&V partner. And IV&V stands for Independent Verification and Validation. That is a neutral, independent third party that will come into the program and really monitor all functions as we are executing, with a key focus on helping us mitigate risks early on and throughout program execution. I want to call out the green bar that you see here, and that's a lot of work that has already started. And those are activities that are really foundational to supporting our future implementation. Things like establishing data governance or documenting our current business processes so we are ready as those partners come on board to help build those future processes, and a number of other digital initiatives. And then what you see in orange towards the right is our actual implementation. Now, one thing that I want to point out here is our approach for implementing our future state is iterative. What that means is we won't be doing a bunch of work over a multi-year period and then flipping a switch at the end and saying, here's our new ways of working. We will deploy the new technology solutions as early and as often as possible throughout the implementation period, so we can start to see value and return on that investment over time. And of course, we will highlight those areas that will have the biggest impact for our customers, our community, and our workforce as we go through that implementation process. So what's ahead for us? So I mentioned we are in the midst of finalizing the technology selection. That'll be wrapping up here shortly. We are also in the process of releasing an RFP for our IV&V partner. Again, that is our independent oversight that will help us de-risk the program through execution. We also have refined a lot of our budgetary projections based on the actual numbers that we have received through our planning and RFP processes. We'll be finalizing those vendor selections, and then in parallel, we are refining our comprehensive program staffing model. Of course, this initiative will take quite a bit of effort from our existing workforce, as well as the resources that we will be bringing in through our partners to help us execute. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Any questions by fellow board members? Mr. Steen?
Mr. Mahoney, thanks for this presentation, most of which you covered with Dr. Romero and me during the June 29th Operations Oversight Committee meeting. But it's good of you to give this update to the entire board and to the public through your presentation today. I concur that CPS Energy is grappling with an enterprise resource planning, or ERP, issue that's reaching a hazardous point. It's hard to believe that our current complex ERP system, a software system that we use to manage day-to-day activities such as accounting, procurement, project management, risk management, and compliance, supply chain operations, and so on, is over 22 years old, and that our vendors have told us they'll cease supporting it in 2027. So I agree we must complete this transition in the next 4 years. What concerns me is that in your written and oral presentations today, there's no mention of what we expect to pay for this ERP transformation. This is not directed at you, Mr. Mahoney, but I'm sorry to say that this reflects a pattern of avoiding financial discussions at our recent board meetings. In fact, with our significant financial challenges, we're holding a board meeting today where except for cursory mention in the STEP update we've just had, there's virtually no presentation or discussion of finances. As someone who has much experience over 40 years on boards and commissions, I've never seen anything like this where deliberate actions are taken to avoid addressing financial issues, arguably our most important responsibility as trustees. So let me ask our CEO, Mr. Garza, these questions. First, what has the cost of this digital transformation effort been to date?
Real quick. I want, make sure we answer that, but before we do that, can you please make sure we pull records? Because I want to make sure that, I'm sure we've had this discussion of the cost. So if you could, I don't know if you have it at hand, or we can make sure.
I don't have it at hand. I'd be happy to double check. The full disclosure of the program was discussed very publicly in the last rate case and in presentation to committees. I would also like to note that there are no financial updates on the agenda, thus discussion of the tempo of presentment of financial updates strays just a bit from the agenda, and I'll pause for Rudy to answer the question.
And again, I do, again, want to make sure Mr. Steen knows that his concerns are valid, and I just want to make sure that we answer his concerns, and then we can table that as you just recommended. But if you have further questions to ask outside of what she just said, that is out of scope.
Mr. Garza, what is the cost of this digital transformation effort been to date?
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I would appreciate, and our fellow trustee would to continue and read all of his information, and that the CEO could give a written response to all of us so we could see it, because right now I couldn't comprehend it, because he started and stopped and started. So I like to hear the whole thing first so I can get a concept of what's this right here. I think it's just unfair for the CEO to say something and not have all the information. But I would like to hear him read the whole thing. And then at a later date, maybe we can get an update on it.
All right, I'll tell you what the CEO told us at the committee meeting, or do you want to go ahead and say? Because I think you've got these figures at hand, don't you?
I think out of courtesy to all the trustees, Mr. Steen, please read out your entire statement, and then we'll go from there. So, and thank you so much for, again, bringing out these points.
All right, second, all in, what's a ballpark figure for how much it's going to cost CPS Energy to complete this ERP transformation? And I'll go ahead and say that and you can correct me, Mr. Garza, but at the 6/29/23 meeting of the Operations Oversight Committee, you estimated $17 million, and you called them $17 million planning dollars. And then you said that we would spend $250 to $300 million over 5 to 6 years. But I can cite other examples of enormous expenditures that CPS Energy must address, the aftermath of Winter Storm Uri being one of them. Yet so many of our recent discussions, including the one earlier today on the $350 million
Sorry to
STEP
interrupt,
program.
but I'm just going to pause again. We do not have a financial update, a general financial update agendized for today, and discussion of our general financial condition is outside the scope of the agenda.
Thank you for noting that. Mr. Steen, please continue.
Are about more and more discretionary spending commitments. My concern is how all this is going to be paid for, considering the stress our customers are currently experiencing. Although it's become increasingly difficult to get timely information, we've been dealing for at least a year with a situation where around 20% of our residential customers are past due in an amount of around $200 million. I've confirmed by reading recent reports of our credit rating agencies that management has been representing to them that CPS Energy is anticipating 5.5% base rate increases in calendar years 2024 and 2026, and I understand that these additional base rate increases are also embedded in management's financial projections. Furthermore, I've heard management refer to what's being called the every 2 years plan, meaning that they're planning additional rate increases in early 2028, 2030, and so on. In sum, I'm going to continue to focus on two things: CPS Energy's financial health and our already beleaguered customers. We pride ourselves on being a customer-centric organization, but we aren't heeding our customers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Steen.
Repeat that last two. Thanks.
Go ahead.
Accountable for CPS Energy what?
If you could repeat the last sentence, Mr. Mecca did not hear you.
I said I'm going to continue to focus on two things: CPS Energy's financial health and our already beleaguered customers. And I said we pride ourselves on being a customer-centric organization, but we aren't heeding our customers.
What was that second one? I didn't understand that. I understand the first one, the financial, CPS Energy financial health, but what was the second one again?
I said our already beleaguered customers.
Okay, explain already beleaguered customers.
What does it mean to you?
Yeah, no, I just want to know what it means. What are you trying to say? Yeah, I just want to know.
Well, it's because we've got 20% of our residential customers are past due in an amount of around $200 million. So yes, we've got beleaguered customers out there.
Okay, again, I want to thank Mr. Steen. We value his feedback. As stated, we're out of scope to discuss financials, but I do think it's important that we report that information. And I think Dr. Mackey further asked that the notes of the statement, of course, are shared with all trustees so they can, again, have an opportunity to review them. Mr. Steen, is there anything else?
Well, speaking of these reports, I received this when we moved away from really talking about financials, which I think we should be doing at every meeting.
Actually, every month, for clarification, and to the audience, the trustees receive financials after they're closed out every month. We agreed for the process. We all participated, and I know, Mr. Steen, you also were not in favor of that, but we do report financials on a quarterly basis, and all trustees receive financials on a monthly basis after the period is closed. So again, I value.
Yeah, so Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
So this says that according to this schedule that you set up, we would have the financial update 4 times a year, and it set up a monthly schedule. This was done, I think, back in the spring, and it said that for July, we should have had a metrics update today, so I don't know what happened to that. And then at the bottom, it said, note, a financial summary will continue to be included in the board package.
Sir, we had our metrics update in August, and we had a special
Last
meeting for
month,
that.
we had our quarterly update.
So again,
We're off this.
Oh, sir?
no, we're not off the schedule. We actually had a special meeting to go over those things. What I would like to do is make sure, again, that we addressed all of Mr. Steen's points, because again, they're his concern, and I value his feedback. And then that we again share that information with all trustees so that we're all in line to make sure that there's no miscommunications or that people are misled, that we're not doing our due diligence as agreed upon as a board of trustee, even if someone did not agree with the new process. But again, is there anything that I'm missing? So is there any other further comments by any other trustees? Yes, there's a question by Dr. Romero. And again, thank you, Mr. Steen, for those points.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez.
Thank you. And thank you for the video. It was helpful. I was just probably kind of a simplistic question for you, but to try and put a handle on something that's so complex. So I'm looking at slide 10, where we are right now with select technology platforms and identify implementation partners. Could we say that is sort of the key hinge right here, that we're moving from all the planning you had to do to all the implementation you have to do? This is just the crucial point right here. Would that be a good way to describe it?
Yes, ma'am. That's a very accurate summary. In fact, the evaluation of the technology platforms is taking less time than all of the work we got up to this point, but that's in large part because of how much time we spent making sure that we were building a solid plan.
And I did have some comments. I mean, obviously, this is in my wheelhouse as a professional. I will say that prior to the current position you held, I was always very concerned about the large effort that this would take. And from day one, I've been very on top of make sure we phase this out, because my concern, like with any large enterprise projects, is that they can easily get out of scope and there can be easily costs can increase. So I know for a fact that with the previous CIO, we've been having some major discussions through the Technology and Resilience Committee. As a matter of fact, I made it a point for Mr. Steen to be on that committee and Dr. Romero, and it's because it's easy for me to just stay on board as an expert because that's my passion. But I think it's more important that other colleagues have a role in understanding the complexity of this and also learn terminology and participate. So again, Mr. Steen brought up some really good points. I understand his concern, but I know for a fact that I've asked for this project to be phased out because of cost. and the complexity of it, and that there's also an accountability portion of that. And so I know we've done those things, and I know we've discussed the price as well. That was discussed with the rate increase discussion, and it's been discussed several times. So again, I do understand that there is a need to have to do this. Also, as someone who's in the industry, digital business transformation technology has vastly changed in the last couple of years. And even during this process, technology and best practices will change. And so I think it's important that we have asked, and I've asked, that we get frequent updates to the entire board and through the committees, because it is a responsibility of the entire board to be educated and to understand, and that they will all have a key role in making sure that we phase this out correctly and that everybody participates, because it is important that they know what we're spending on and that they also understand the terminology of this. So I want to thank you for that presentation, and I believe there's another comment by Mr. Mackey. Please, Mr. Mackey, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'd like to say that was a great presentation. Thank you for the presentation. And I like all the things that you've put in here. You've covered it. And I've heard the same thing that fellow trustees have mentioned. It's going to cost around $250 million to do this project. Everybody knows it. We've been hearing it over and over for the last 2.5 years. It's not going to be a surprise. How are we going to pay for it? I don't know yet. However, that you do have a timeline on page 11. You have a timeline. It's technology selection, evaluation, negotiation, contracts. Then you have an implementation partners of selection, develop RFP, release RFP, evaluation, negotiate contract. That's a timeline from the third quarter of 24 to the third quarter of 25. Then we know what the exact numbers are. You know, I don't think Mr. Garza is going to sit out here and start shooting out numbers today or any other day without having the numbers that benefit CPS Energy, instead of saying just numbers and they taken out of proportion. I think it's fair to him that he sit down and look at it with his staff and present us with some numbers that are conducive to this transformation roadmap. As far as the health, the financial health of CPS Energy, we all concerned about the health. All 5 of us, 6 of us, 7 of us are concerned about the financial health of this organization. Every day, all the time. That's no surprise. We have internal auditors. We have external auditors. We have consultants. At the last meeting, we talked about the consultants that are monitoring this. No one has brought anything up that's been out of the norm of expertise. I've been listening for this every day. It hasn't happened. Every meeting, audit and finance committee meeting, board meetings, I'm listening for this right here. Until I see different, then I'm gonna go with what we have. The third thing, a year, January, I asked this board about customers to 20%. Yes, I'm concerned about it. I even said I will suck in a motion if one board member would bring it up about paying the late payers. I haven't heard that. Mr. Garza, you're doing a good job. Keep it up. It's the board's responsibility. If they're concerned about it, bring it up, put it on the agenda, I'll suck it. We can discuss it and make a motion. I am very concerned about it. I said it in that January. I think every customer should be paying their portion of it. And for board members keep bringing it up, hey, put it in front of us, let's vote. Let's stop hiding from it as board members, and let's vote on it if we want to. Otherwise, I don't really want to hear it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mackey. And again, please, everybody's feedback is important. Make sure that Mr. Steen's statements and his questions are addressed. And just for the record, on July 31st, 2023, Mr. Steen again asked a question, and Mr. Garza shared the feedback during the meeting, and he basically again said, we have worked to do this to get a definite number, but we think it will be between 250, 300 million spent over the next 5 to 6 years. And so this is in, again, July 31st, 2023 board minutes. So again, I'm not here to say he said, she said. As your chairman, my job is just to make sure that the concerns are addressed, that we adequately, make sure that everybody knows whether they were or were not, and every trustee has an opportunity to go through me to add items to the agenda of concern. So with that, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I just couple statements. First of all, Evan, thank you very much for the presentation. I do appreciate the update. Also appreciate the master class and not verbatim reading back all the slides, so thank you very much for the summary. I do want to place in the record, at risk of being not germane, the fact that it is very ironic to be lectured about beleaguered customers when the same trustee has been pushing us to disconnect more people faster. The fact that we have customers that are burdened is the exact reason why we are being methodical about how we pursue this. And I understand, based on the legal requirements of the Texas Open Meetings Act, we can't discuss it any further, but I did want to make that statement for the record.
And I need to respond to that. Mayor, I've never said that. I challenge you to find a place where I said, where I was pushing on disconnects. I've been doing what you should do as a trustee, which is I've been putting, if you want to call it, putting heat on our CEO to get the problem resolved, but I specifically stayed away from offering advice about it.
With all due respect, Mr. Steen, asking rhetorical questions that are verbatim the same questions that you ask every single month does not move this conversation forward.
Okay, on that, Mr. Steen, on that note, I think that we've had this.
I think the mayor, I would just say that I challenge you to go back through the record and see where I've made that statement, or in any written or oral or anything else.
Yes, sir.
Again, I want to thank everybody for their comments. Thank you. Who would have thought that your conversation would, make it this exciting? But no, in all seriousness, this is important dialogue. This is a challenge that we have to balance the needs of our infrastructure and balance the needs of those who have means and those who don't have means. And so it's important as trustees, we all have a different, unique point of view, and that they state it, and that we as colleagues move on and find ways to work together collectively to find resolution to our business. Again, on that note, thank you everybody for your comments, and thank you for that presentation. The next item on the agenda is number 11, which is the CEO recognition. Rudy Garza.
The biggest thing I learned in my department specifically is how power generation is moving towards more renewable energy.
Working at CPS Energy was definitely getting to learn more about IT, technology, and knowing the basics of technology as well.
The friendships, the connections that I've made really set this apart from any other work experience I've ever had, and I will definitely be taking them all into the future.
My internship with CPS has opened doors for me to be able to maybe work here in the future or meet people who have similar jobs to what I would like to do.
The best part of this internship is the people that I've met, I've worked with. They're all super helpful, friendly. You can ask anybody anything and they'll basically come to your help and tell you what you need to do, tell you, talk to this department, do this, do that.
Professionalism. I feel like I haven't been in this type of environment before, so I'm learning slowly what professionalism actually means and what it looks like. This is kind of like in preparation for my future and my career.
A little bit of like the educational side, just learning like tips and tricks on vehicles that I just didn't know. I did not see myself working in the utility industry, but I definitely see myself going into it now because I love it here.
We work with so many different pieces, so we're really getting to see like a full view of the CPS as a whole. It's been really cool.
It's eye-catching and eye-opening to see all of these departments and we all intertwined into one team.
So I had a checklist when I was looking for my internship. One of them's San Antonio, good company, in person, and CPS kind of checked every box.
One word to describe my internship here at CPS would be dedicated.
Unparalleled.
Informative.
Friendly.
Beneficial.
Fulfilling.
All right, y'all don't be afraid to come on up here. It's going to be all right. So I want Bella. Where's Bella? Raise your hand. Bella, thank you very much. Bella is responsible for that wonderful video. And obviously today I'm recognizing our summer interns and their mentors. I was a product of an internship. I was a product of working for a utility company up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for 4 summers while I was at UT. And, one day you can become CEO as well. Connecting students with internships opportunities is not new for CPS Energy. In fact, we've been offering internships to students for close to 30 years. And after a break due to the pandemic, we welcomed 43 students this summer, both high school and college. How about a round of applause for our interns? As you heard today from CASTEM and UTSA, the internship program at CPS Energy is a vital part of the growth and development of future employees and our local workforce. These internships are tailored to help high school and college students learn more about a career in energy by providing real-world experience and hands-on learning opportunities while expanding their knowledge of the industry. This year's CPS Energy Summer Internship Program has run 10 weeks, and I believe it's coming to end next Friday. Is that right? So interns are mentored by employees across the workforce in a variety of different departments. This year's interns are spread through power generation. Raise your hands when I say your area. Power generation, customer experience, all right, data science, cybersecurity, finance, talent development, strategic research, legal, supply chain, energy and equity, enterprise information technology, and last but certainly not least, mail services. CPS Energy offers internship programs throughout the year, some resulting in the opportunity to join CPS Energy as full-time employees. So far this year, we have hired 7 former interns and 2 more are in the hiring process right now. So on behalf of the entire organization, and I'll certainly turn it over to the board for their comments, thank you for your willingness and desire to come work for us for the summer, and I hope we hire each and every one of you. It has been an absolute pleasure. I've interacted with y'all on so many levels. Again, there is a soft spot in my heart for the work we do in our internship programs. I want to thank Lori Johnson, who's our leader over our education programs, and all of the team. You all do an excellent job, and I couldn't be prouder of y'all. Congratulations.
Any comments by our mayor or trustees?
Yes. I don't know what exact year, I think it was 08, 09, that being a former superintendent, I was a part of this program, the engineering program, the volunteering program, and all this CPS Energy for high school students. And I think it's very beneficial, and it's good to see so many of you all involved in this program. And thank Mr. Garza for giving y'all an opportunity. I know it's been going on for years, but this is very good of you all to be a part of this. And like you said, I hope that we hire as many of you all as we can when that time comes. Thank you.
Anybody else? Dr. Romero, and then the mayor, if you don't mind. Go ahead, Dr. Romero.
Yeah, thank you. Interns, for good reason, are always a really feel-good story. But I've been in a lot of internship programs, and people don't understand all the hard work that goes into setting up an internship. There's the administration, the mentors. For the interns themselves, there's a lot of adjustments you have to make to your schedule to make this all work. So thanks, everybody, for all the work you do on this. It's great.
Mayor?
I was just going to say thank you also, and I'm sure all of you probably just want to stay in CPS from now until the end of your careers. If you don't, let me recommend that now that you have this sort of training, consider maybe also cross-training over at SAWS, get that kind of experience, or maybe even at the city, because we do need some folks who have knowledge, maybe a little higher level of all of those systems working together. That could, be either a career in utility or government, or perhaps even in governance. Need those perspectives as well. But congratulations to you, and congratulations to CPS and all of our ratepayers for such a fine group. Thank you.
So in closing, I had the opportunity as the chairman to participate on a panel with Rudy, our CEO, and the Texas Workforce Commission, or the chair of the Texas Workforce Commission. But I started with this question. I asked, how many of you are first generation? If you could raise your hand. And the importance of first generation, I'm a first generation student. And so what that really is a testament is that if first generations don't have exposure through programs like this, it's really challenging then to make a career or even an educational decision. So, as a first gen, I just want you to know that these type of opportunities can transform your life. Never let, again, the circumstances of your family situation or whatever that is stop you from being all you can be. So again, I want to thank, on behalf of the trustees, thank you again for the opportunity for these young individuals to participate in all the staff and all the work that went into. So thank you so much.
Yeah, just a few comments.
Ellery, go ahead.
I think Dr. Romero said it very well. It takes a lot of people to put together a quality internship program. So it's not just the interns, it's the mentors that are here today standing by their side. I wanted to talk specifically about our talent acquisition team and show some stats from the process that they actually took on. We had 800 applicants for our internship program this summer. And from that, we got 43. So it was a pretty competitive process to actually get into the internship program. And that's at the hard work from our talent acquisition team. They reviewed a lot of applications. They helped us with quite a few interviews with the interns, so they really earned their spot. So I wanted to definitely bring attention to the work that they've done. In addition, I have a slide here that just shows the universities and colleges and high schools that our internships represent. Quite a few here in San Antonio. There's about 13 students that are going to UTSA, about 5 from Alamo colleges, a few from Trinity, so really good representation. And I'm going to highlight our team too. So besides the video that was put together, Isabella Bacon is our design communication intern. She also designed this presentation for us today, so it's been really great to have her. As Rudy said, it's a 10-week program. It supports our strategic objectives to be an engaged, service-oriented culture. We definitely make sure that our interns, as they're onboarding, just like our new employees, they receive that information, right? The importance of our culture and our values. We talk about those things. We also give them very similar safety training as we do our employees. We do Smith driving with them also. They don't actually get on the streets, but they do simulated driving with us because we want to stress the importance of safety at all times, no matter where you work at CPS. And lastly, it's not just about the on-the-job training with them. We want to make sure that they're well-rounded individuals. So it's not just professional training, it's personal development for them also, and then team-building activities, as well as networking with CPS executives and employees all across the company. We want them to know what we do as a utility, and then have a chance to kind of decide which direction they want to go in. Hopefully they stay at CPS, though. These are some of the events that we've done already this summer. We did have internship orientation, as I mentioned, where we focus on our core values and our mission. Just recently, one of our developmental days, as Chair Gonzalez mentioned, she and Rudy, along with the Workforce Commissioner, came to talk to the interns, and it was a really great conversation. Coming tomorrow, we're actually doing a community service project at the food bank. So this whole collective group of mentors and interns will be there. And then starting in the next couple weeks, we're doing final presentations. So each of the interns will talk about their experience at CPS Energy, and they do a PowerPoint presentation for us. And that's it. I just wanted to kind of give a little bit more of an overview of the program and thank all the people that are involved. Are you ready to take a picture, Vincent?
I believe we've had all the board discussion when it comes to item number 11. So the next item on the
I've
agenda.
got something.
Yes,
This
sir.
is for the CEO.
I'm sorry, is this about CEO recognition information, or this is just another,
I think that
Just real
we've
quick, can you
always
please-
understood that agenda item to be.
real quick?
Yes.
Can you please make sure that you, before you read your statement, what exactly you're going to discuss?
Okay, I'm going to give, because you're requiring me a little bit of a predicate to what I'm going to say, and then I guess if you.
Well, I just wanted to
cut me
make
off, you can.
sure.
Okay. Mr. Garza, during our earlier public comment session, I listened closely and made some notes. Because it's not agendized, we can't discuss whether to save the 150-year-old Summer Saloon at Alamo and 10th, but with spontaneity and pursuant to Section 551.042 of the Texas Government Code, I want to ask you, all in, including the Southwell land purchase, I'll just go through these and then.
I'm going to interrupt. This is not an agendized topic. It's inappropriate for us to discuss the disposition of the Summers property simply because it was raised in public comment. As is our history as a board, generally when folks sign up, we ask them to sign up for an agendized topic, and the speakers did today. The speaker spoke on a non-agendized topic, but because it's 2 minutes, we have generally allowed the public to provide input on a topic. That does not override the agenda and put the item up for discussion.
Trustee Steen, whatever your question is, submit it to Shanna, and we will provide all trustees a written copy, a written answer.
I think that just as a rule, it's another thing that I'm not used to, which is sort of banning interaction between board members and the CEO in a public setting.
Actually, Mr. Steen, you had an opportunity before this meeting to add that to the agenda, and I would have done it. I go back to, there's a
Well,
process.
this is spontaneous because this was something that came up today.
Sir, but you obviously were prepared for it, so you had knowledge.
Trustee Steen, you don't even need to read your question, sir. I don't have the answers to the questions that I would imagine you're about to ask, but if you will give me time, I will get you a written response in short order. I don't have the answer to any questions about that property today. Not readily available.
Mr. Steen, again, it's noted, we will provide guidance by legal. If you could please, at this time, go ahead and go over review of action items. And there was a lot of discussion today, so I want to make sure that we accurately capture, and so that way we can make sure we provide the feedback to all trustees. Thank you.
I have a report out of the 3 open action items from prior meetings. There was a request to follow up with a percentage of residential customers on past due accounts. That was provided to trustees in a written correspondence that went out since 6/26/23, so that's complete. I had a request for feedback on the implementation and impact of the performance credit mechanism. We will continue to provide this as more information is available, so I'll leave that as open and ongoing. We had a request for a working session to allow for a deeper dive into core values and guiding principles. That was discussed with the chair directly for potential dates, and I believe we've identified potential dates for that future session, so I will call that item complete. With respect to the action items for today, the first one I have is a request for a written update on the costs of the ERP and Evolve project. I will send those out in writing to all trustees. The second item I have is a request to share Trustee Steen's written comments along with the answers to the questions raised therein with all trustees. The third action item I have is to provide a history of the discussion of ERP costs amongst the board and in all committees. The fourth action item I have is to answer questions on the Summers property, including disposition of the 10th Street and the costs incurred related to that property to all trustees. Trustee Steen, if you provide me with more specific written questions, I am happy to take those questions, answer them, and distribute the information to all trustees.
Is there anything else that was not stated correctly or needs to be added? I again want to make sure that all trustees, again, whatever concerns they have, we document, and that every trustee has an opportunity to review those notes and then provide timely feedback. And I want to remind, again, all my trustees to any concerns you may have, any item you want to add, please go through the process. I'm more than willing to put that item on the agenda. Is there anything else? With that note, then I want to go ahead and conclude today's meeting. I want to thank everybody for their participation. Meeting is adjourned.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Okay, is there a second? Second. All right, we adjourn at 3:48. Thank you, everybody. Oh, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, 3:48. Thank you.
Ma'am, would you like, we have it agendized to start at 3:35 or immediately after the board. Do you want to go ahead and start now?
Yeah, let's just go ahead and start unless any colleague needs to take a bio break or just wants to return calls or anything like that. Are we good? Then we're going to go ahead and start. On that item, if we can please go ahead and call the meeting to order for the SA Acquisition Public Facility Corporation meeting to be held today, July the 31st, 2023. Shannon?
Yes, ma'am. We have yourself. We have trustee Dr. Mackey. We have trustee Steen. We have the mayor. We have Vice Chair Romero. We also have Assistant Vice President Rudy Garza, and we have Director Corey Kaczynski. All members are present. We have a quorum.
Thank you. And the meeting to order begins at 3:50. The next item is public input.
We have no one signed up for public comment.
Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is, again, to review the consent agenda. Approval of the consent agenda items are A, minutes for the PFC meeting held on 2/27/2023. B, directors and officers, insurance approval. And let me
Move
just,
that we approve item 3A and B.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is number 4, the regular agenda. And again, this is item number 4, PFC audit results. And this will be presented by Julie Johnson.
Yes, good afternoon. So the PFC audit has been completed, and today we have with us representatives from our external auditors, KPMG. We have Mackenzie Rangel, who is the audit manager, and Carolyn Garcia, who is the audit partner on our engagement. And so we had a good audit, good results. We had an unmodified or clean opinion. So I'm going to call them to the podium, and they'll be presenting the results for you.
Hello, good afternoon. Julie stole our thunder. The PFC did receive a clean audit opinion, so that's the highlight of today's meeting. So good afternoon. My name is Caroline Garcia. I'm an audit partner with KPMG. I do have with me here today Mackenzie Rangel, who's the manager on the engagement. Let's see if I can get the clicker right. All right, we're going to move right into slide 3, which is the dashboard for the audit results for the PFC Corporation. We have no outstanding matters as of today. We did issue the financial statements for PFC on Friday, July 21st. We did issue a clean, unmodified opinion. We do have one minor uncorrected item that Mackenzie will go through on slide 7. We have no corrected items. Good news, we have nothing to report as it relates to deficiencies, no any deficiencies at all, whether there were significant deficiencies or material weaknesses to report. And then finally, we'll go over some other slides with you on slide 13. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mackenzie, who's going to walk through some required communications with you.
Good afternoon, everyone. This slide summarizes, as Caroline noted, communications we are required to have with you all. As you can see, many of those are not going to be applicable. We had a very successful audit, no significant deficiencies or difficulties in general. There are a few items that we will share with you in the next few slides. The first uncorrected item is solely just a company election of a non-GAAP policy. So this relates to the bond amortization. This is the same thing that we were aware of last year, and this is truly just a company election to use a different amortization method than what is recommended by GAAP. And this is a slide summarizing that non-GAAP policy. As we mentioned, the company uses the redemption price method, where GASB uses the effective interest method. We were both aware of this. We worked with management on this election. auditor's report. So we had a clean, unmodified opinion, which we issued on July 21st. In addition to the unmodified opinion, we also issued an agreed-upon procedures report on PFC's compliance with the Public Funds Investment Act, or the PFIA. Significant accounting estimates. There is one that was identified by the company, which is the commodity swap derivative instrument. We worked closely with management on the valuation of this instrument. We also engaged a KPMG valuation specialist, and we came to the conclusion that the fair value was appropriately accounted for, and all matters were disclosed. Significant financial statement disclosures. These are those that are disclosed in the financial statements, and through our audit procedures, we concluded that they're all appropriately accounted for in accordance with GASB and other regulations. Independence communications. These are the same for the main CPS audit as well. These are two services that are considered non-audit. One is a subscription to the accounting research online that we offer, as well as the custom learning portal in which you can get CPE, continuing education, for those licensed. And that is the closing of our presentation. We will stand for any questions.
Again, fellow trustees, Mr. Steen, please, you have the floor.
So thank you all for your presentation and for your team's auditing diligence. And would you please put up KPMG's page 8, entitled Non-GAAP Policies and Practices? Here you note that the PFC has adopted certain accounting policies and practices that are not in accordance with GAAP. Specifically, the PFC amortizes its bond premium utilizing the redemption price method, while GASB 62 requires amortization of such a premium to be made under the effective interest method. This is highlighted by KMPG, but in a sense skipped over because it's been determined not to be material to the PFC's 2023 financial statements. So please put up page 7. This is KPMG's page 7, uncorrected audit misstatements. I believe I understand this chart outlining the impact of misstatements, that you're required to show this in 2 ways. That is the Iron Curtain method, which is balance sheet driven, and then the rollover method, which adjusts the year-to-date P&L. And the purpose of this exercise is to determine materiality. Am I generally correct on that?
Yes, you are.
All right. And by the way, do you happen to know why it's called Iron Curtain?
That's a great question. I don't. Do you know the history behind the naming of that?
The Iron Curtain method is that you correct the balance sheet at any period in time. So at January 31st, 2023, that's the entry required to correct the balance sheet.
So those of us that, think about the Cold War and all that, that's what you think about when you work Winston Churchill, Iron Curtain. But anyway, also, why is there a footnote after quantitative income statement effect net of income taxes, but there's no actual footnote at the bottom up here?
I think we just incorrectly left that out. So as we know, there is no income statement impact, right? We're an entity that doesn't record income taxes.
All right, so Ms. Johnson, would you please come forward?
Yes, sir.
So my understanding is that you and the auditor disagree on this, but it's okay this year because it's immaterial. However, at the bottom of page 7, there is a caveat, and maybe it's just something you always put, but it says uncorrected misstatements or matters underlying those uncorrected misstatements could potentially cause future period financial statements to be materially misstated, even if we have concluded that the uncorrected misstatements are immaterial to the financial statements under audit. So, Ms. Johnson, since this issue has been flagged by our auditors, why aren't we complying with GAAP?
So I think the team made the determination, again, based on materiality, and because this is a contract that ends in 2027, and we have been reporting it in this manner throughout the entire life of this project, because it's not material, that we have made the decision not to correct that. This is a declining balance as we head towards the end of the contract. So we do not anticipate that it will get any larger than this.
That's absolutely correct.
But Ms. Garcia, I think you said it was, well, I think, ma'am, tell me your name again, please.
Mackenzie.
Ms. McKenzie, I think you said it was a selection, but in your written materials, you're saying it's not in accordance with GAAP. It's really not a selection. We're doing it wrong. Is that right?
The selection that was made is not in accordance with GAAP. And so that's why we've identified that as a non-GAAP policy. But since it's overall immaterial to the financial statements, that we just have to notate it, but it doesn't make the financial statements materially misstated.
Right, I understand that. And I'll just close. Ms. Ramirez, would you reflect in the minutes that I don't go along with this approach? Our auditors pointed out to us that in utilizing the redemption price method in regard to bond premium amortization, we're out of kilter with GASB 62. And I contend that the PFC at all times should be in compliance with GAAP generally and with GASB 62 particularly.
Ms. Johnson, can you come back up there, please? Can you remind this board what year, how long we've been doing it this way?
Yeah, so it's, a 2007 contract, and it expires in 2027. So at this point, the benefit of changing the process and maybe confusing the reader even more just was, for the amount of misstatement, it didn't make sense to us.
So if I understand correctly, we've been reporting this the same manner since when?
2007.
And so who have been the chairman since then?
I'm sorry?
Since 2007, who were the chair people?
Well, we've had several.
Including Mr. Steen. And it was presented this way.
Our previous auditors did not call it out the way KPMG is calling it.
And who, that third party, KPMG?
Well, KPMG are our auditors. And
Okay.
and this was noted last year.
Yeah.
For clarity, it was noted last year.
Transition,
So
it was brought up?
Yes, and so KPMG will be required to report this every year until the end of this
Okay.
agreement.
Just want to make sure. So again, it's been reported this way. Maybe it wasn't noted, but once we went through the transition, it's been presented to us at least one time.
One time before.
And if I'm not mistaken, that happened last year, correct? And I think we had a whole team here who explained that to us. Okay.
Chairman.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and just to remind the folks, I mean, the savings to customers since 2007 in context to this, it's been $85+ million. So benefit to the community is awfully huge and worth remembering.
But I think in fairness to Mr. Steen, he just wants to make sure that, again, it's highlighted, that, it's noted, and, it's, again, good points, but again, we've gone through this process. It's been explained to us in the public, it's been explained to us in the committee forum, and we've had plenty of opportunity in the last couple of years to not agree with this. Is that a fair statement? Maybe you don't want to be put on the spot. Is that a fair statement? Corey?
Sorry, the question is, we've had opportunities before and haven't changed it, and that's
To not agree with this statement,
right.
this financial statement, to be clear.
We could have, yeah, as an example last year.
Yeah, so I could have said, I don't agree, put it in the minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
Right, but how long has KPMG been, because KPMG is the one that pointed this out, the previous auditor did not, is that correct?
That is correct.
And is it true that best practices change throughout the life cycle of reporting? Rules change, things are implemented, different people have different perspectives?
And I think this, you correct me, but I don't think this is a change in practice. I will tell you that the methods are similar, and I think our auditor took a different position in the past.
Again, and that's typical. That can happen, have a different bird's eye view. But again, the reporting has taken place, and there's no question about the integrity of our financials.
And we've been very transparent. It'll continue to be reported, but like I said, we don't anticipate that it'll get larger than this amount.
Okay.
You could say, Ms. Gonzalez, that it's not material, but I'm sitting on the board of directors, and I'm looking at a presentation, and the title of it is Uncorrected Audit Misstatements. And
Again, Mr. Steen, point well taken. I'm just asking a couple of more questions. I think I have that right. I think, again, your point has been well taken. You have it for the record. And then if there's any other feedback, I believe Mr. Trustee Mackey?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of things. I asked that we change auditors ever since I've been on this board. I think every 3 to 4 years or so, I asked to change auditors. So that was something that I harped on, and I appreciate the board's support of that right there. Been asking for this for a while. However, is this right here what we're seeing? I know it's corrected, it's 0%, 0 net income. Is it against our policy or against the law or something right here? I just want to know, because it's not corrected. I just like to be clear about this.
Maybe I can add a little context. It is not unusual for organizations to have a difference of opinion with their auditors on how to account for things, right? It is always, it just happens, right? For a lot of different reasons why you would have differences. The GASB 62 is, in KPMG's view, clear on how you should be amortizing the premium. And so we came to the company last year and we had a discussion with them, and they agreed with us. Now, as Julie mentioned, to change the process and how they've done it for the last decade or so would be costly, right? From a variety of reasons why those changes were made. At the end of the day, KPMG issued a clean opinion because we believe in our professional opinion that this would not change the financial statement user's opinion. Right, and it's past, it's immaterial. So if we believed it was material, we wouldn't have issued a clean opinion. We would have asked the company to make a change. Yeah.
Is there any other feedback? Corey, Dr. Romero, Mayor?
No, I just don't want to bury the lead in all the details. We got a clean opinion. This rule, just a cursory web search, came into effect in 2011, which was after we started this process. So if you're telling us that it would cost the ratepayers more in terms of process and potentially money to change it rather than waiting for it to wind down in a few years, I'm comfortable where we ended up. Thank you.
Anything I've learned from Mr. Steen, he's, again, has harps on fiduciary responsibility, ethics, and I, again, appreciate his feedback, but I just want to make sure if you can assure all trustees who sign if we're meeting our fiduciary responsibility as trustees with this opinion. Yes, no? Should we be concerned?
I mean, that's a conclusion for the trustees, right? I issued a clean opinion, and then that's your decision.
Thank you so much. So that's up to you, colleagues. If you don't feel comfortable with it, then that's your right. Again, on that note, any further discussion? If not, again, please, for the record, make sure that Mr. Steen's statements are, again, documented and then addressed as needed. And I think Mr. Steen has a clear position already. On that note, thank you very much for the presentation. If we can move on to the next item, which is number 5, which is closeout.
I did not note any action items from today.
Let me just mark it. I'm sorry. Is there any action items by anyone? No, we're good.
This is Julie for this one. There was none open, and I heard none today.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. And again, number 5, item number 5, which is closeout. Is there any, again, Shannon, if you can please review if there's any open reviewed actions or any actions that need to be documented?
None, ma'am.
Okay, on that note, I want to thank everybody. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Second. Thank you very much. All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned, and the time is 4:07. Thank you, everybody, for the lively discussion.